In November of 2023, Dr. Evelina Ohab wrote an article for Forbes entitled Violence Against Women and Girls Today, One Killed Every 11 Minutes. Dr. Ohab is a lawyer, human rights advocate, and author. She is a program lawyer with the International Bar Association's Human Rights Institute and co-founder of the Coalition for Genocide Response. She works on the topic of genocide with specific focus on the persecution of ethnic and religious minorities around the world. In her article, she discusses how much of a global issue violence against women and girls is. In lieu of all the acts and allegations of sexual violence and abuse directed towards women in the news lately, I think this is as good a time as any to have a bigger conversation about what women globally experience. In recent months, we have seen Diddy be exposed as a brutal abuser, learned more lewd details about former President Trump's ongoing case with former adult film star Stormy Daniels through her court testimony as well as her Peacock documentary. Her experience with Trump challenges what we know about sexual consent, as well as how we view power and misogyny. In other news, we have learned that powerful Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein has had his conviction of sex offender overturned. So let's get into the information and data documented in the article. Globally, an estimated 736 million women, 1 in 3, have been subjected to some form of physical and/or sexual violence at least once in their life. This includes intimate partner violence, such as battering, psychological abuse, marital rape, and femicide, sexual violence and harassment, which includes rape, forced sexual assaults, unwanted sexual advances, child sexual abuse, forced marriage, street harassment, stalking, cyber harassment, human trafficking, which includes slavery and sexual exploitation, female genital mutilation, and child marriage. While gender-based violence can happen to anyone, anywhere, some women and girls are particularly vulnerable. This vulnerability is increased by several factors, which include age, young girls and older women being particularly vulnerable, but also migration status is a factor. Ethnic and religious identity are also factors in that indigenous women and those belonging to ethnic and/or religious minorities are more susceptible. Also those with disability and many more. The most recent global estimates from the UN Office on Drugs and Crime show that, on average, more than 5 women or girls are killed every hour, or 1 every 11 minutes, by someone in their own family. In 2020, approximately 47,000 women and girls were killed worldwide by their intimate partners or other family members. Asia is the region with the highest number of victims in absolute terms, with an estimated 18,600 victims. Africa is the region with the highest level relative to the size of its female population. Sean Diddy Combs was seen physically assaulting a former partner, Cassie Ventura, in a 2016 surveillance video published by CNN on Friday, May 17th. This video was proof of what he is capable of, and it adds credence to the allegations previously outlined in Ventura's lawsuit. Although it's only one tape, and it certainly does not show all the vile things that Combs has been accused of doing, it moves the needle of public opinion in favor of Ventura. Viewers are challenged to question whether the awful things he's been accused of doing are in fact true. This disturbing footage is the latest controversy involving Combs. He has faced a search of his home by federal agents and multiple civil lawsuits since November of 2023, accusing him of sex trafficking, sexual abuse, and rape. Outside of this information, rumors of Combs' behavior go back to the 90s. People who have been close to Diddy or have been in the same entertainment circles have discussed his repulsive behavior for years. Whistleblowers such as singer-songwriter Jaguar Wright has countless video interviews on YouTube where she goes on record to discuss his evil deeds, along with those of other high-profile celebrities. The information exposed in her raw interviews has served as foreboding foreshadowing. Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, is another whistleblower who has provided candid testimony about what he witnessed while employed by Combs. As with previous powerful celebrities such as Jeffrey Epstein, R. Kelly, and Bill Cosby, the greater public is left wondering how they've evaded justice for so long. How are they able to repeatedly violate others and escape the consequences? Obvious answers are that they've been enabled by those around them. Nefarious narratives that challenge their innocence are quickly spun to suggest that the narrator is deranged or spiteful. And of course, those dependent on the perp for, we'll say, gainful employment are financially motivated to turn a blind eye and keep their mouths closed to the perverted behavior they witness. As disturbing as this video is, I'm glad that it has at least shed light on domestic violence. The celebrity of famous entertainers sometimes serves as a conduit for exposing prevalent issues hidden in plain sight. I hope that people will not only engage in conversations regarding eliminating abuse perpetrated by rich and powerful men, but also take action against abuse perpetrated by those in their own communities. How many of us are inactive in reporting and or rebuking abuse in all its forms within our own households, families, inner circles? Moreover, how sensitive is our legal system and legislative body toward the plight of victims? More often than not, they appear tone deaf. As a collective, our attitudes toward taking abuse seriously must change. Until our status shifts from passive detached bystander to active concerned advocate, then the devastating data about violence against women will not change. What else can be done to combat violence against women? I'll reference Ohob's article again. She cites that the UN is calling for more investment in women's organizations and women-focused initiatives. In addition to better legislation, prosecution of perpetrators, more services for survivors, and training for law enforcement officials.